I'm back with my homemade mic spatula thingy because so many of you seem to like it. Today I'm going to discuss two different versions of myself. Number one is my fantasy self. She is effortlessly organized, always on top of her house. Everything is always spotless and clean. She never loses patience or gets flustered with the children. Clutter is non-existent, and she is so on top of things that she has all this extra time to spend with her children making magical memories that they'll remember for a lifetime. She is just an expert in the kitchen. She cranks out these nutritious, delicious meals and is always changing things up every week. And she's never wondering what to make in the evenings for meals for her family. She never gets bored because the kitchen is exciting, right? Also, her plants, they don't just look at her and die. They actually thrive when she's around. And last of all, she's gracefully thin. And then there's the second version of me, which is, well, me. All jokes aside, here's the thing. I fully know that my fantasy self is never going to fully materialize. Somewhere between the beautiful chaos, and I call it beautiful because it truly is beautiful. It's these little intricacies of life that make it beautiful. Somewhere between that chaos and my dreams, I am slowly improving, and that's a win. So today I'm bringing you along as I do two things. A lot of you have been asking me to share my sourdough recipe. I'm going to be doing that, and I'm crossing my fingers it doesn't flop because my sourdough has been sitting in the fridge for a while and my last batch flopped. And I'm also going to be decluttering. I'm telling you, I'm never happier than when I can get clutter out of my house. So we're going to be tackling some horrible looking areas in my house, and you're either going to be 50% of the people that is going to be horrified and judgmental of what you're about to see, and then I'm hoping that the other 50% is inspired and feels seen and heard and doesn't feel alone in your struggle with clutter and chaos and managing a house. So that's the goal of this video. Let's get into it. Also, I apologize for the scratch on my nose. I think it was my daughter that did it, and if I look like a snake because my skin is peeling everywhere, it's because we just got back from sunny Mexico. Super spoiled. We had some free Hilton nights that we just went down for a few days and we just relaxed. I didn't film like a full-blown travel video like I normally do. I just pretty much filmed the children and a few like highlights that we did. I'm not going to be sharing it on here, but if you're a part of my inner circle, I plan to share over there in the coming month, just because I am trying to pull back more on having my children too much on here, and that's more where we share. We have a kids corner over there and share just a little bit extra content. Anyway, on with this day. Thank you. I've got this big glass jar. The reason I got this big one is I really do like using discard and stuff for pizza and having some extra stuff on hand, but it does often make probably a lot more than I actually need. What I do is I need 3 ingredients to revive starter. You need flour, you need water, and you need patience. I have 2 of those ingredients. Just kidding. Speaking of decluttering, let me show you my one spot in my kitchen. Look at this. Oh my word. This looks a little bit better. I do enjoy working in the kitchen. Can you even hear me? I like to hear you sing. Can you be a little quieter though? Okay. I don't make the big artisan loaves yet. I might try that sometime, but I don't think my children would like it. I want something that my children will eat and I can put in lunches. It's a big deal because store-bought bread is so full of all the bad things. All right, so what I have been doing to perfect or get used to the recipe and be good at it is just all-purpose flour, white. And that's not the healthiest for sure. So my goal is to proceed. I have some wheat berries and I have a grinder and I want to get into fresh ground bread. I have already weighed this jar. I know that it weighs 1,378 grams. I'll just deduct that from whatever this weighs and I'll add equal amounts of water and flour to feed this. And then we'll let it set for the day and hopefully it gets bubbly and rises, and then we can continue later this evening with whipping up the bread. Here, we're gonna stir it. Do you wanna help Mom stir?
Yeah.
Okay, stir. Oh, sorry, did I get your finger?
I want to mix.
You wanna mix.
I want to extra.
Other side. Let Mommy mix a little bit more. Lexi, I'm not hurting you. Please stop being dramatic.
feels like home.
Okay, I'm gonna put it over here.
Feels like home.
There. Here, can you pick up your lemons and apples, please? Put them up here.
Feels like
If you're all done.
home.
Got it? Thank you. This is an absolute eyesore. I'm telling you what, we've been wanting to get sliding barn doors after we did the kitchen remodel, and that's been what now? Quite a few years ago. And it's still open, and the more life goes on, the more cluttered it gets. It's our only pantry. Let's get this thing clean. Like, seriously, Janine? Ugh. I have that much processed food in this pantry, it's embarrassing. Okay, there's also a lot of pork rinds. I was on the carnivore diet, meat mostly, some dairy, like cheese and cream, for about 4 months, 3-4 months. And in the beginning, I lost weight. I lost like 10, 12 pounds. And then I just stalled and could not lose and could not lose and could not lose. And then I gained some back. And so I was kind of mad because it was such a strict diet. But anyway, we're still working at it. But that's all the pork rinds. You ever get mid-project and you feel just a tish overwhelmed? And I'm starting to wear out. I need to pick me up. Even though it's still winter, I'm feeling like an iced coffee. Seems they wake me up faster, probably because I drink them a lot faster, so. Look at that crema. People ask how I like my coffee. I'm a simple girl. I don't like a lot of sugary things, so I basically never put sweetener in. A shot, actually this is 2 shots of espresso. Then I'm gonna fill it up with water, and it's not complete without a dash of cream. And I like a little bit more in my cold ones. See if this will do the trick to finish out my cleaning. I was talking to Megan Fox today. My goodness, I am jabbering like nuts. But anyway, and she just flattered me. She told me that she feels like she should sometime buy some from their very local roasters in Lancaster, but they are so hooked on Mama Java that they only exclusively buy Mama Java. And I'm like, oh, thank you for telling me that. It's made my day. Back to work. Just for fun, I'm just gonna show you the different things that are in my pantry so you can judge me accordingly. I'm getting all of my pastas, sticking them on. Mac and cheese. I have way too many elbow macaronis. Throw them away. I had this Tupperware container to put my saltines in, and then I lost the lid. And so I'm doing this, and I'm not sure why. I just need to order another one. Next up is all my spices. This right here. These bins that are made for storing some of my potatoes, onions, and this is why I need a door to block out the sunlight, because if I leave the potatoes in there too long, well, they do this. They sprout. Some of my salad condiments, dried cherries, those are outdated. Sliced almonds, dried cranberries, those are outdated. Unhealthy croutons, oh my word, look at that list of ingredients. More almonds. And we have onions. Some of those are getting a little soft, so I'll just do 3 of these. A few garlics. These sweet potatoes are a little dried out. Thankfully, we have pigs. This is my little seasoning packet thing. Pork rinds. I got these apple straws for Xander's lunch. More pork rinds that have been sitting there for quite a while. Would it be cannibalism to feed pork rinds to the pigs? Probably, right? An old bag of pretzels. Okay, these are practically empty. Some yummy almond, chocolate covered almonds. I can take just one. I can have just one today. Here are some granola bars, organic granola bars that I get for Xander's lunch. He kind of likes them, but I do want to start making. I just do not make enough food around here. I don't make enough baked goods, healthy things. So this is on my to-do list, but I limp along on these. And I had bought Lara bars for him, but he doesn't like those. Chocolate chips for baking. I like to have brownie mix and cake mix on hand just to quickly whip up if we have last minute company and serve with ice cream. Other than that, practically never make them. Pretzels filled with peanut butter. Nolan really likes these chips. He also likes like the bean chips that you can get from Aldi and eats them with salsa. I like the pork rinds. I have so many pretzel bags. Ugh, why you always need to go shopping with a list. Here's granola once again. This is something I want to start making more of, like every good Mennonite does. And I'm not a good Mennonite. Every now and then we have cereal for breakfast, but most of the time we have protein, like eggs, bacon, scrapple. But now and then they like cereal, which once again is not healthy for you. So I'm just saying, this is me just talking through my pantry. And I am on my way to that perfect crunchy version of me. But yeah, there's quite a percentage yet that hasn't reached the crunchy level. Cheese melts. I hardly ever use these either, but I like to have them on hand for every now and then when I want to make like a cheese dip. Bags of oatmeal, probably pretty old, so I think I'm gonna throw this away too. More processed food. Super unhealthy. But I like fast popcorn on the rare nights we have it. More things for the trash. Sunflower lecithin and wheat gluten for baking. Orzo, I tried a new recipe the other night. And this is just pure junk. Oreo cookie type things for Xander's lunch. Whole almonds. All right, now comes all the cans. I like this brand. It's the organic pasta sauce from Aldi. I just like buying ours. I think it tastes good instead of canning my own because I'm not your typical Mennonite woman. A bunch of honey. By the way, this is another thing. I've been trying to be more conscious of seed oils. But mayo, like the healthy kinds with avocado oil, I just can't stand them. The children don't like them. So if you guys know of a healthier brand of mayonnaise that tastes like the Hellmann's, please let me know. All right, we have some chicken stock, sardines, jam. We're getting there. I have some tuna, almond butter, and this is trash. This is for the birds. Raisin packs, some more seasonings, some more pasta sauce, some more jam. This one's still good. Tomato sauce, and kidney beans. I just need to be better at utilizing things. Okay, let me just talk again here for a little bit, excuse me. So I tend to cook so much with fresh things, like we have a staple protein and meat is our main source, and then I like to have like either a fresh salad or one big thing I often have is like a frozen vegetable. And then other times it'll be like, you know, I have some pastas if I make some kind of spaghetti or macaroni dish, which we don't do a ton of. We try to stay away from some of that a little bit more, but I will make it for the children and Nolan because they like it. And then I like to have a lot of fresh fruits on hand, like apples, oranges, and so I feel like I'm constantly shopping for the week or 2 weeks food. And then the things that we put away is meats, like we butcher a whole steer or a pig or whatever. We have a lot of meat in our freezer. And we have some frozen veggies. And so I have found that with the type of cooking I do, I don't often utilize as much, but I so much have my bunny trails of just the types of food that I go bi-weekly, fresh ingredients. And then the other stuff, it just kind of sits. And I hate that. And I was throwing food away. Like I feel like yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling too much, but basically the staples that I have in my pantry are cereals here and there. We don't eat them nearly like we used to. And then a few like snacky things like chips, a little like Oreo cookies or something like that, more for lunches, but it's basically just here and there for Xander's lunch. Have our spices, have some cake mix for company, rice, pasta. We have our canned stuff like pasta sauce, extra maple syrup honey, ketchups, extra mayo, once again not the healthy thing, but then cans of beans and rice. Those are the kinds of things that are more shelf stable and I can leave them down in the basement for longer periods of time. I like stocking up on some of those staples and having them, but I have found too, if I'm not intentional, they can quickly become outdated and I forget they were there. Anyway, so that's sort of where I'm at with the whole food thing. Anyway, I'm gonna clean all this up, not film it. I have talked enough and showed enough. I'm up in my daughter's room. Are you ready to see how horrible my cupboards look? Dun, 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 dun. That one's not terrible. I don't know if you can see the drawers from there. Probably not. But it's kind of, some of the spots especially are pretty bad. What I am going to be doing is I have a couple different trash bags, and I will be putting in clothes I plan to donate, and then things I plan to throw away that I think are beyond donating, and then a few things that I plan to put away for later. Anyway, I say from a total place of what I consider very blessed privilege to have this option, first world problems, where I'm like having the decision, you know, should I save the clothes for hand-me-downs, or should I just donate them and then purchase later? That's a complete, I'm so blessed to be able to have that decision. But having said that, there's something about bins of clothes, and then the children grow so quickly that, like, sometimes if I buy ahead, I remember I did this for Xander, and I bought ahead for Lexi. Suddenly they're 18 months or whatever, and you realize that you had some clothes tucked away that were 18 months in some bin that you forgot about and you missed it. And so that tends to be my tendency. Anyway, I'm jabbering too much, but not have this whole huge inventory to manage, because I feel like I'm not very good at that. So I'm gonna be donating a lot just to get it out of my headspace. I'm so much happier when my spaces are tidy. Let's just say even if they're not organized. If I tend to just throw things in and it's not super organized all the time, if it's not just cluttered full tight, everywhere you turn there's clutter, I'm just so much happier. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean, you know, it can be dusty, whatever, but if it's just tidy, that is my absolute goal in life. And so I just am so much happier. But it takes a continuous effort and have a system that I stay on top of it, so I'm not constantly dealing with overflowing drawers like I am today. So this is the question I ask myself, like, why do these things always look so overwhelming? At least for me, they tend to. But then when you actually get to it, it actually doesn't take that long. Like, you just pick a section and do it. And that's what I need to be more intentional about. Just every day, pick a section, work at it for 10 minutes. You would get through your house so much faster. Much better. Drawer number 1. Drawer number 2, much better. And drawer number 3. Swim stuff, swim pampers, and some bigger shoes, and some tights for church. All right, it is evening time and my sourdough is nice and bubbly. Look at that. And we're gonna have pizza tonight with sourdough starter, but I'm gonna start mixing up the bread.
You make amazing homemade bread.
I make amazing homemade bread. Oh, thank you.
Better than any other bread I ever tasted.
Oh, thank you, Xander. Okay, I was trying to find if I could find this book online, but I can't. It's this book I picked up at our local store. It's called Everything Sourdough, and it's by Charlene Yoder, and I love her bread recipe in here. I kind of tweaked it to have it, so it makes 3 loaves. It's a little bit different how I do it, but it's similar. I wanted to give credit where credit is due. Okay, and I'll have a link to my blog post with this recipe. First off, we mix 2 cups of water, 1 cup of starter, and 1/3 cup of honey. I do like the larger amount of honey in this because it's not quite as sour for the children. My brain's not working. You're supposed to mix the first 3 ingredients with 1 cup of flour. So I forgot to do that. 2 cups water. Dig into this goody goodness. That looks about like a cup.
A lot of glob.
Kind of a lot of glob, huh? We're gonna do 1/3 cup of honey. I like to rub a little bit of oil inside my measuring cup so that the honey falls out easier.
It's hard. Ow, it hurts my fingers.
Okay, one more time.
Ugh.
Got it?
Now?
Yep. I forgot, you're supposed to mix the first 3 ingredients, the water, the starter, the honey, with 1 cup of flour, and then let it set for 10-20 minutes. Okay, it has rested for 10 minutes. I'm gonna put my bread dough hook in. Then we add 2 eggs, half a cup of olive oil, 1 tablespoon salt, and the rest of the flour. So the recipe calls for about 6.5 to 7 cups of flour. We already put 1 cup in, so we have about 5.5 to 6 cups to go, if I did my math correctly there. So I like to add the flour until it starts pooling away from the sides of the bowl. And then I'm beating it for about 10 minutes. Now I don't come up to quite all the specs of, like, you know, you're supposed to pool it, do the window pane test. I could never quite master that, but it still seems to turn out pretty well. So that's what I do. All right. I'm gonna cover this, let it sit overnight, and in the morning I'll shape it into loaves. See you in the morning. Oh, good morning. It's almost 10. This is my sourdough. I didn't rise quite as much as it sometimes does, or as quickly, but it still looks nice. I don't know why sometimes it rises better than others, but I think it's going to turn out well. So what I do is I divide this into 3 different loaves, and then I let it rise again, and I like to weigh it just to make sure they're all about the same.
Hey, Mom.
Oh,
I wanna watch.
we still haven't gotten ready.
Hey, Mom.
Okay, you watch.
I wanna.
Here, yes, stay right here. Oh, you're gonna hit it, are ya?
Squishy.
It is squishy. I'm gonna get you combed.
Squishy, squishy.
Squishy, squishy.
Put.
Okay. I'm still learning how to shape loaves correctly. It's sort of a hit and miss, but just doing what we can. Punch it. Whee! Punch. 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 And then this is going to rise for another few hours until it's maybe about an inch above the pans, and then we'll bake them. And now I need to go clean up, make food for company tonight, order some things for Mama Java, work at a video,
Hey, Mama.
keep Lexi out of trouble. All right, I have been busy making food. Tonight I'm having zuppa discana, like the Olive Garden, and Caesar salad, and garlic bread. So, this bread, the sourdough by the way, it seems to be taking longer to rise. I wonder if I shouldn't have fed my starter twice. It feels like it's taking longer, but I think it's good enough. I think I'm gonna just stick it in the oven because I'm ready to be done baking. But right now I have homemade croutons in the oven. I did buy bread for this one. Ooh, 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 look at this. This is for the Caesar salad. I used some store-bought sourdough. Anyway, that looks really good. Okay. This one looks a little goofy, but guesses are big enough. You're supposed to bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes, and should be good to go. Sorry if I have something on my face. You can tell the one side of my oven is baking, like burning more than the other side. Like these halves are kind of darker than this. And my loaves aren't perfectly shaped, but they work. There you have it. It's that simple. And it works out for me fairly well. My next challenge is to do it with freshly ground wheat. I know that can be very tricky. So yeah, but for now this is the best alternative for sandwich bread for lunches. How was school?
Good.
I made homemade bread. Do you want some?
I see some.
Melted butter.
I like the butter into the bread.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Do you want 2 slices? Or no?
Yes.
Okay. You have a good day at school?
Yep.
Get good grades?